right, so now we're going to be talking about Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. I know we got to play this during Summer Game Fest. Also, I had an opportunity to get hands-on, longer hands-on compared to playing my play session at Summer Game Fest. This one was like 2 hours long, actually. So some of them was exactly from the event, and they also showed us a couple of new things that wasn't available at the event. So 2 hours, got lots of footage, 30 minutes of gameplay. This is from Capcom. This is a very, very different game that I've seen from Capcom. And I know, Ree, you also had an opportunity, Riana, got an opportunity to play this at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, so shout out to the team at Capcom. Thanks for inviting us for hands-on and for you to get that deeper dive, Danny. It's been really helpful because we saw this game originally at, I want to say, the Game Awards.
No, actually, it was the Xbox Game
The
Showcase
Xbox Game
last year.
Showcase last year, right? So almost a year ago, or about a year ago. And what we saw was a cinematic. And at that time, we didn't have a lot of details about the game. We hadn't seen actual gameplay footage yet. So all that we really knew was that it was A, beautiful, B, a little creepy, and C, based in some ancient mythology, and that there were definitely influences there. And we were interested in it, at least I definitely was, but I had no idea what we'd actually be doing when we got our controllers in our hands, or mouse and keys in our hands. So now that we've played, we know a lot more about what Path of the Goddess really is. And essentially it's a mix between tower defense and boss rush, right? It's an interesting mashup of genres and something that we haven't really seen before, and definitely not done to this level of artistry.
Yeah, like when I first got to see this game during the Xbox Game Showcase, I originally thought this was going to be like an action, like Devil May Cry, that type of
Yeah.
action game. So, but now that I got hands on, you're going to be one of the characters. Can't remember exactly the name, but I know that there's going to be people from the villagers that are going to be joining you. And once they join you, you could use them for different things. You could use them to like unlock certain areas. You could use them also for like if you want them to do like attacks to like enemies, because the important thing is you have to protect the goddess that is with you. So there's going to be a path that the goddess is going to go straight, and there's going to be an area where she's going to unlock the door. And once you reach that area, it's going to help you to go to the next area. Now, here's the thing: there's only a certain amount of time for you to take her and the villagers to this path. Once it gets nighttime, all kinds of enemies will pop up and starts attacking you, and especially her. So you have to protect her, because if she dies, it's a wrap, game over.
Right. So it's, a mixture of protect the princess, but also some real time strategy and how you place your villagers and also upgrade them. So the daytime cycle and the nighttime cycle is where you set up and then fight respectively. So as Danny said, daytime, you are looking throughout this village that you're in. It's a very small map area, at least the parts that we've played. As Danny mentioned, there's the day cycle where you're exploring the village, you are collecting orbs. These are your currency in order to level up villagers and place your defenses. And then you have the night cycle, where, as Danny mentioned, the enemies come and attack. And they're going for the goddess. She's the target. But your villagers, you place them in a real-time strategy manner around the village and the entrances to different pathways. Depending on how close your goddess is to the portal, it's easier or harder. And once you've spent all of your skill points that you would like on your villagers, whatever is remaining, you can use to clear the path to the portal, and the goddess will follow that path and eventually get to the portal, cleanse it, and then you move on to the next stage. But as we said, each night cycle that the goddess hasn't reached that door, enemies come. And it's an interesting balance between leveling up your villagers and clearing her path, because you use the same currency for both. And so you have to not only strategize how to level up your villagers, where to place them, and in order to defend against the enemies, but also how much do I want to save to actually get the prince or get the goddess to the door.
Now, one thing I do have to mention, let's say during the night cycle, one of your villagers dies. Once it becomes daytime, you could bring them back, you could upgrade, you could do certain things with them.
Yeah, and you can
So
turn them into magician type characters that will freeze enemies in place. You can turn them into woodcutters in order to have a little bit more fighting power. You can turn them into archers in order to have more of a distance distance attacks. So there's different ways to upgrade your villagers with these skill points in order to make them more viable. And then once you've cleared the path to a door and cleansed it, the goddess has cleansed it. You will reach sort of like a hub world where you can place permanent upgrades on your character. So there are different trinkets and amulets and things that you will unlock throughout levels in order to make your arsenal a little bit stronger and your next run a little bit easier. And then you get to a boss mode, which is a little bit different. There's not a path. The goddess is in one place. The boss is attacking, and you can place your villagers around, but really it's just one big target. And there are some really cool mechanics that you can employ here, where if your character dies, you float around as a magical orb, and you can still direct your troops. And you can eventually be revived. You can immediately, with one press of a button, call everybody back to defend the goddess, or call everybody to go attack the boss. And these like shorthand commands are really, really useful in those modes because it can get pretty hectic. The boss has minions, and it's very, very busy fight. And without that goddess path that you need to unlock in those boss modes, it becomes very much more direct tower defense.
Really highly recommend. I think people should definitely try this out. And this game is going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah, on Game Pass, it's also available on PlayStation and PC.
PC, yeah, it's going to be everywhere.
Anywhere you want, you can play this. And one thing I will also say, I really love that we're getting fresh ideas and fresh IP, because there is obviously a huge risk in making a game, right? It's a huge time investment, a huge financial investment. You have to hire people. It can be risky. And for Capcom to take a chance on something that is completely different, this is a mashup of genres and art styles and gameplay styles that we haven't really seen before. And I appreciate taking risks, and when they pay off, it's a really beautiful thing to see, because we don't want the same 4.5 sequels every
No, of
year.
course not.
And while we love our Assassin's Creeds, we love our Gears, we love our Halos, it is nice to see something original that can really shake up a genre and make it a fresh experience. So really appreciate Capcom and going for it here, and it looks like they pulled it off pretty well, and I'm excited to see what people think of it when they get their hands.
Yeah. Well, thanks Capcom and also 47 for giving me and also Rihanna the opportunity to play the game, not only at Summer Game Fest, but also the separate event that I had here in Los Angeles. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening and watching the preview.